We're kicking it up a notch. We're here. We got some people in the house. It's Rick, Raider Rick, and Ben. We're all here to bring you the new and improved Packer Outright Opinions. Tonight's episode is very special because for the first time ever, we are doing the regular season Packer Awards according to Hafeman Bros. So look forward to that as well. Rick, how you doing tonight? Thanks for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I'm fired up. This is looking forward to tomorrow's game. Wild card weekend. Happy to be part of the awards show. And I think this was the first time you started only 4 minutes late. So it's a good sign.
We had to now, since this is also big time, right? Because we're using StreamYard, which gives some cool things. Like we got the overlay, we got the intro, easier to deal with, all this stuff. One thing that it does as well is lets us stream simultaneously on multiple platforms. So even though I'm totally anti-meta, I mean Facebook and all that, and I love YouTube way better, we got to reach out to more people where they are. We got to go to where the people are. So with that, we are live on Facebook and Twitter in addition to the regular YouTube hub tonight. So we welcome in new audiences, hopefully. We welcome in you. And I also want to say that I'm drinking Magic Dragon tonight. Magic Dragon from Hop House Brewing Company.
Puff?
It's a double IPA, so I'm not sure what's magic about it, but it tastes pretty good.
Puff?
Yeah, Puff, the Magic Dragon. What's up?
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure my microphone is on.
Oh,
so
sorry.
I can't hear myself with this new
Hey,
Fandango.
look at this. Blaz likes having a scheduled broadcast. Here we are.
Whoa, Balaz, we're trying to get professionalized.
And look at this guy's here, too. How we doing, Ekis? How we doing, Balaz? How are you?
Yes.
Woo-hoo-hoo. And we can see all your comments, and we can pull them up on this, too. So there you go. Gotta love all of it.
I can't see any of the comments.
Oh, you can't see them? How come?
Because I have it on private. I have it on private chat.
Oh,
hey, if I put it in the
private.
comments, I can see them. Holy crap.
There you go.
You know what would really help is if the guy who starts all this stuff teaches idiots like me how to do this better.
It's all cool. We got it figured out. Anyway, we're glad to have you here. We have exciting awards to get to. We got Rick and his Raiders. Rick,
Woo!
all right, before we jump into our awards, Rick, now, your Raiders took it down to the wire, but they got in the playoffs with that win. Tell us how exciting that last game was for you.
That was pretty crazy. Like getting every last possible second out of the regular season. It was definitely an emotional roller coaster with yeah, they got it, to holy crap, I think they gave up 72 fourth down conversions in that game. But they were legitimate calls. It wasn't like getting hosed by the refs. So I had a couple of guys get banged up, which sucked, but it was a crazy finish. I was tired and wanted to go to bed, but had to tough it out and stay up too late. But hope. Oh, man, Ekis, no way. Raiders are on a hot streak.
Hey, Butter's here too. Butter, how's he doing? Zero's here, and Ekis. No, come on. The Raiders drew a pretty tough draw, and we'll talk about the playoffs and Wild Card Weekend a little bit more after we get through our awards, because we know that's the first part. Finish the regular season, then move on to the playoffs. But the Bengals are a tough draw. But the Raiders have experience, craftiness, and the mystique. The Bengals don't have mystique. Come on.
Bengals suck. Worse than the Raiders.
I mean,
we'll get into that later. We're talking about the game, the crazy game about the Raiders and the Chargers now.
Yeah, that was just a wild finish.
Yeah, I mean, just Herbert looked good. I mean, that kid's got a lot of potential. I think we knew that from him being the top and Ben's favorite quarterbacks of all time. Polls.
Oh, not just that, Rick. We knew that when somebody said before the draft that I would trade everything we had to go up and get him and replace Aaron Rodgers with him. That's how good I thought he was going to be. And I was correct. I may have been dead wrong about Justin Jefferson, but I was 1,000% correct about Justin Herbert. So I just got my Justins mixed up. Actually, I was right about one Justin and wrong about the other Justin. You can only be right about one Justin at a time. Like Justin Timberlake stinks. That we all know. You know what I'm saying? Okay, back to you.
That sounded like some Madden logic there, Ben, but maybe it's just a sign you need to be more positive. Focus on the good things in life and not try to bring everyone down.
Hey, watch it.
Let's say that too. That's another goal for us here. Look, I know it's been a tough going. If you've watched this before, and maybe you're coming back because you're like, I'll give these guys a try because they're doing awards for Packers tonight. And I got sick of them being kind of negative lately, which we have been at times. I get it.
Yeah, it's only been a year and a half of negativity, you know.
But the thing is that what we're trying to do is we're going to bring some positivity back, and we're going to try to enjoy these playoffs. And not everything's going to go exactly how we want, but that's okay. As long as the Packers or the Raiders end up winning the Super Bowl, I'm good. What if it's Raiders-Packers Super Bowl matchup? Rick, what will you do?
Woo! Be happy.
Why are we jumping the gun to that already? We're talking Raiders.
Because I got so excited when the Raiders made the playoffs.
Okay,
I
got to say one thing about something.
All right, you say it.
I think it's a travesty that Justin Herbert is forced to have terrible head coaches. Last year he had Anthony Lynn, who didn't know how to frickin' manage a game worth of crap, and they lost a bunch of games, close games at the end because they were dumb. And this year he's got a head coach who goes for it on fourth down every damn time, no matter where they are.
That was totally crazy.
Well, not just that. Remember, I said we had a whole thing about this a couple weeks ago where I talked. It was the Chiefs game, and I was like, he's going for it all the time. Like he gave up 9 points at one point against the Chiefs, and they lost by 3 in overtime or whatever. If they would have won that game, they would have been in the playoffs. Then against the Raiders, he goes for it on their own 18-yard line. It was 4th and 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
you're just giving the Raiders 3 points
in the third quarter, right? I mean,
yeah, and you lost in overtime. You just gave them 3 points by going for it on fourth down. I don't care if the analytics say that 60% of the time you're going to make it. There's still 40% of the time you don't. The analytics don't take into account your players, how good they are, what play you called, how good the team is you're going against, and also the added difference of people screw up everything. And that's why I don't understand these analytics crap. You know, like when you can go all the way back to last year in the NFC Championship game when everybody got on LaFleur when he did the right thing. He kicked the field goal because he knew 4th and 8 is insane. And by kicking the field goal, his team still had somewhat of a chance of winning later. Because you had to stop Tom Brady either way. It was like, and then people freaked out. This guy's an idiot. And Justin Herbert proved in that game that he's freaking insane. He's freaking insane. He completed 5 of 5 fourth down passes at the end of the game. They were down by 12 points with like 4-something left to go in the game, and somehow they came back and tied the dang thing. It's insane. But the bottom line is the Packers need to trade Aaron Rodgers to the Chargers for Justin Herbert. Straight up. As a matter of fact, we'll give him. We'll give him Devontae, Zadarius Smith,
and Royce Newman. Can we get Royce Newman?
Royce Newman
to get Bulaga
Billy
back?
Turner. They can take all those guys. We'll just take Justin Herbert. Matter of fact, we'll give you 2 first-round picks and Jordan Love. Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Zadarius Smith. Kenny Clark, he ain't that great. Kenny King for sure. Who else? Billy Turner, throw him in there. 2 first-round picks.
Did you just turn into Bruce tonight, or what?
We get Justin Herbert.
Is this positive, Ben, or negative, Ben?
This is positive. I'm positive they have Justin Herbert on a good team. He deserves it.
You know what the thing I said? I commented to people was that if Mike Holmgren was the head coach of the Chargers, he would have won that game.
They would win the Super Bowl. You got the best quarterback in the history of all time. Or not the best, but the most talented. Like, he's insane. His arm is crazy.
Look at Zero. It says he deserves a $600 million contract, all guaranteed.
Well, there's that one play where he just, like, stiff-armed a dude. Like, he came right at him. He just stiff-armed him and chucked it. And I was just like, holy crap. It's insane how big he is. He's huge. He's fast. And he has no fear. Like, he stays there looking downfield right until a guy's in his face before he lets it go. Like, it's the opposite of Tom Brady. Tom Brady freaks out and, like, you know, all that kind of crap. And Herbert just takes it and is just like, he doesn't even, like, it's almost like he's oblivious to guys around him, but he's not. It's just he knows he's going to get hit, and he's just like, screw it. I'm going to stay in here until my guy's ready. And then how many drops did those guys have in that game? It's really bad. Okay, so that's my Justin Herbert thing. But here's the other thing. Derek Carr for president. Derek Carr for MVP. This is the one time where it's like last week with Hub Arkarkarkarkish and everybody was talking about, Rodgers is a jerk and blah, 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 and they shouldn't let things outside of what happens on the field affect your MVP vote. That's wrong. Derek Carr is the MVP because somehow that team stayed together, and Derek Carr is the guy who did it. I don't care about stats. I care about the ability to keep a team together and run. And also, Rick Bisaccia, or whatever his name is. His name Rick? I can't remember what his first name was.
I think so.
Well, your name is Rick, so you probably want it to be Rick. But anyways, that's what I'm saying. Rick Bisaccia, he almost wants Bisaccia. Maybe he should be coach of the year. I'm scared. I want LaFleur to win it because he deserves it after 3 years of being the best.
Yeah, he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to because they overlooked him in the last.
But look at all these great coaching jobs this year.
It doesn't matter. LaFleur's got to win it because of the last 3 years what he's done. So
what do
you know? So they're gonna make up for it. It's gonna be one of those things where they're like, "Oh, we screwed up. He probably should have got it last year, but let's make up for it and give it to him this year." And he did a great. And you put all the crap that he went through this year and all the things he had to manage and deal with and everything else, plus all the injuries, right? And all those offensive line combinations that they pulled off, even though he deflects and gives credit to Steno, new defensive coordinator, how much better they were. Like LaFleur has to win it. I'm just saying. But anyway, that's NFL. That's the NFL awards. We must get to the Hafeman Bros Packer 2021 regular season awards. So let's get to it. Are you guys ready?
Bring it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. We got one more Conference Zero here saying that never knew that you were a Tebow fan.
How did it go to Tebow? Actually, I was a Tebow fan.
I know,
sort
you
of.
like the guy, the character of the guy.
Right. Like, listen, when he threw that touchdown pass, that he threw it for 2 yards, and then what's-his-face ran for 70 yards, and they beat the Steelers. First of all, they beat the Steelers, and I hate Ben Roethlisberger. But that was an awesome freaking play. And when you go back and you watch the whole video or the whole game, he's talking to that guy after he dropped the pass or something, and he was – I can't remember the guy's name. Demaryius Thomas or something, right? And he's like, I just got a feeling you're gonna make a play in this game and win it all, and just stay tough. And he's just a positive, awesome dude. Derek Carr is like that guy. He's not as Tebow-y because he actually has some sort of talent, but it's like, I don't know, Rick. Do you think Derek Carr deserves MVP? And do you like Rick Bisaccia, or whatever his name is? Is he going to be? Are the Raiders going to screw this up and not hire him as their coach and be dumb, or are they going to hire him as their coach?
Starting with the easier one first, I think, especially if he makes a good showing this weekend, I think that he's coached that team into landing the job. I mean, he kept his composure. He kept the team under control. Showing him on the sidelines late in the game, like he didn't lose his composure. He was cool. He wasn't fired up. He wasn't freaking out. The team stayed cool and calm. And really, that's key. I mean, the Raiders have a long history of just stupid penalties, losing games for them, breakdowns on defense. And I think a big part of it is Carr, as you were saying. I mean, that guy's a team leader. I mean, he's fired up. He brings confidence to the team. I hate to say it, but it's a little bit of the Favre element where you could be down by 5 touchdowns and you can't completely count him out because he might find a way to pull it out and win. Or he might throw a really boneheaded pick over the middle and that's the end of it. But I think he's shown an ability to really rally the team, get guys believing in him, in the team, that they can win, believing in themselves. I mean, look at what the team's been through this year with the whole Gruden situation and then Ruggs. I mean, how many teams would you see implode by this point, right? And the Raiders aren't exactly a team that's known for the character of their players overall, especially in recent years. They certainly had struggles, guys that aren't very partial to the team or showing a lot of allegiance to the team. So I think it's a different look for them. I think Carr's done a pretty decent job of taking over that leadership role. I'd like to see him play a little more consistently, keep his head in the game, and make a good run in the playoffs. So I think going for MVP might be a bit of a stretch. I think he certainly could be team MVP. League MVP, I don't know if he'd break the top 3 or 4, but we'll see about that. But yeah, I hope they extend Bisaccia, Big Sakia, whatever his name
Big
is.
Sakia. That's what his name should be. The way he's
There you
taken
go.
over the team and right the ship just like Carr. I mean, his name should be Big Sakia. I mean, he's got the biggest sack around the way he's taking care of these guys.
Whoa!
I just can't see
Nice.
it. Like if they bring in someone like Harbaugh, I just don't
Oh,
see
that'd
that
be
going
terrible.
anywhere, right? I mean,
Yeah.
here you got someone who came in, was put in a bad situation, and was just rolled with the punches all season, and kept him on track. It'd have been easy to pack it up and just play out the last couple of weeks and not care, but they stuck with it until a very long, drawn out, bitter end, and didn't pack it in. So
Now I know just hold on. I know everybody's waiting for the Packer awards. I totally get it. But we have Raider Rick here. His team doesn't always make the playoffs like the Packers. We're spoiled. You got to give him a little time to enjoy his Raider making the playoffs. And we'll go back to all the playoff stuff in a little bit. Before we get to the Packer awards, though, we have to remind you one quick thing, and that's it. All right. Now it's time for the Packer Awards. Let's get into it. We got to make the comments go away. We got to make us go away. We got to get this in here. Let's get some Green Bay Packers regular season awards. Bringing it to you here on Hafeman Bros. All right. So we put a lot of thought into this, a lot of effort into this. I am very
You
proud.
did.
Oh, well, I thought you did too. You didn't?
No, it took me like 2 seconds.
Oh. Well, actually, my choices, it was pretty easy to make my choices. It was hard took a lot of time to make all these graphics, find all these pictures of these guys, do all the stuff I had to do to make it work. But here we go, okay? So we're going to get on with it to the Green Bay Packers 2021 regular season awards by Hafeman Bros. As you can see, it's branded Hafeman Bros. If you just look here, look at all the Hafeman Bros pictures there. You see some of our favorite guys right on the lead in to it. And let's get to it. So we have a number of different categories. Ben and I had many different choices. We had some that were the same, so we'll let you hear it. So first off, we're going to go to our first category, which is my offensive Packer of the year. And I am going with Davante Adams, Ephraim's favorite player, the most dominant player that Aaron Rodgers has ever played with, single season record in receiving yards, 16 touchdowns, or 11 touchdowns this year. I'm sorry. 11 touchdowns, 123 receptions. Big year for Davante Adams. He's my offensive Packer of the year.
I threw up a little in my mouth.
Are you okay with that, Ben? Do you have an issue with that being my offensive Packer of the year?
Well, he's on offense and he's a Packer, and it was a year, so I guess that works.
Okay. Well, that's my guy. That's my offensive Packer of the year. We will now. Ben had a different choice, a different selection. So Ben's offensive Packer of the year is. That's right, Royce Newman. There he is. No, just kidding. Sorry, that was my bad joke. It's this guy, the big legs, big load, AJ Dillon. Ben, would you like to explain why is he your offensive Packer of the year?
I'll tell you why. Because he has done what we expected him to do when they drafted him. He seals the game for us. There's been times where it's 3rd and goal or 3rd and a yard or 2, and they actually run the ball with him. Usually they don't. But when they do, it works a lot of times, and sometimes the guys don't block, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I just think he has kind of been he's taken on a role that the Packers haven't had for a long time. And you can tell when you watch the games, whenever he gets that run where he's like plowing over dudes, like that last touchdown or other, like everybody goes crazy. Everybody, like Packer fans want a bruising, tough-nosed, hard-nosed guy. And they thought they had him with Eddie Lacy way back when.
Oh, that's not.
But this is the guy. He's really stepped up this year with an expanded role. He's improved his pass protection. He's improved his receiving out of the backfield. And even his running is a little bit better. He does still sometimes hesitate a little bit before he gets going. The other thing I wish he would do is, I think he watches too much Derrick Henry film, and he kind of stops and tries to stiff arm guys, and that doesn't work for him. Like, he goes up these little corners and he thinks he can stiff arm them. Dude, you got the biggest legs ever. Just plow right through them. Just keep going. You know, don't stop and stiff arm them. Plow through them. But that's the thing. I think he had a great year for a guy who, you know, no Packers wanted him. I remember after they drafted him, every single Packer fan was, what the crap is this? It was after the Jordan Love fiasco, and they're like, we drafted a big fat fullback guy? What the hell is this? No, he runs fast. He has the same speed from the 40 of Aaron Jones. And he's got another 40 pounds on him than Aaron Jones. And that's worth something. He is, and he's only going to help the Packers in the playoffs at home with his size, that cold weather, running the ball. They have to get the lead, and then when they do, he's going to secure the lead, and that's a great role for him. And that's why he's my offensive player of the year.
All right,
Rick, what do you
very
think?
good. Rick, what do you got on that? Any thoughts so far on the offensive Packers of the year?
I can't argue with either one of those. Certainly recognizing that, you know, Devontae's accomplished this year has been truly record-setting. Right. I mean, he's had a great year. We knew he was going to get a lot of looks. So I think in that regard, maybe Ben's pick is a little more, little less obvious, just because the Green Bay's really come to utilize the running game sometimes. You know, they got someone that they can pound the ball when they need to. Look, coming in, everyone knew it was going to be a pass-heavy offense. Even if number 12 wasn't the QB, they'd still be throwing the ball all the time. So having a reliable running game, I think that's been key to some of the wins that they've pulled off. So give a slight nod to Ben, but I can't really argue against your pick either, Jason.
I appreciate that. I mean, we don't want to argue on the show. I mean, that's not what we're about. We like to just have harmony all the time. All right, so let's get to, just kidding. All right, let's get to the next category, which is Defensive Player of the Year. And my Defensive Player of the Year happens to be this guy, Devondre Campbell, career high in tackles and interceptions this year. And he did that in the same number of games he's played in every other year, 16. Okay, he didn't play the last game, so his stats at 146 tackles and 2 picks are career highs for him. And those were really crucial at a crucial spot on the defense. So he is my defensive Packer of the year. I'll let Rick argue that in a second. Let's go to Ben's Defensive Packer of the Year, the one and only 2-time Pro Bowler, Kenny Clark. That's right. Oh, wait. No. Sorry, that's wrong, too. That's my last one, I promise. Ben's actual Defensive Packer of the Year is this guy. This guy right here who saved the day. Ben, I picked this picture out for you specifically. I looked through a lot of Rasul Douglas pictures, and look at this one right here. Look how he's beat it in on the ball right there on the receiver, ready to knock that thing away. Just zero chance that's complete. Look at that receiver. He's just like sitting back waiting for it. Rasul Douglas is like, no completion today, my friend. And that's what he gives you. He was unbelievable for this team this year. Unbelievable.
It's hard to believe that those two guys were not on the team in May. I mean, think about it. I mean, and with all the offseason fiascos and all this other stuff, it took two guys showing up late to really be the difference on this defense. And thank God they are there, because they are both very, very good players. It's cool that Campbell got to make it All-Pro. He's an All-Pro now this year. So I don't think he didn't make the Pro Bowl, where Rasul Douglas made an alternate for the Pro Bowl. Campbell didn't even make the alternate for the Pro Bowl, but he's an All-Pro, which, as we all know from Honolulu Jones, that's more important than anything else. So, I mean, it's not a secret. I think both of those guys are awesome. It's just, I think, based on the impact that Douglas has made and how he single-handedly won one game and pretty much another game, and also I said he was going to do that, and I said he was awesome way before anybody else knew he was awesome. That also is another reason why I said it.
Well, look, I mean, he's unbelievable, And plus, I picked that second picture out because I think it's actually a dance move. I'm not sure, but anyway, he was having a good time on that one. Rick, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, another thing to keep in mind or expand on from Ben's point of neither of those guys were on the team in May. But not only that, they were plugged in to fill giant gaping holes, right? It's not like these guys were brought in expecting that they're going to be superstars. It was kind of like, who do we got that we can fill this hole with? Because we really need a linebacker or we really need secondary help. So I think that makes it more remarkable that these guys come in and make the impact that they've had. That said, Jason, you win this one by a considerable margin. I think Devondre's the team MVP.
Whoa!
Certainly on the defensive side of the ball, but you got a guy that's what, top 6, 7.
You're wrong.
Top 6 or 7 tackles.
In the words of Owen Wilson. In the words of Owen Wilson, all I can say is, "Wow."
So I don't think anyone would argue that Rasul provided a huge spark for the defense, for the team overall, was critical in some wins. But Campbell doing what he was doing consistently all season long, I think that gives him a clear edge in this. It's a season-long award, not the second half of the season award. If there's a second half MVP, yeah, I'd give it to Rasul. But if you're looking at the entire season, I think you got to give the edge to Campbell. The middle linebacker was a mess, right? I mean, I know he's rung up a lot of tackles. I know Martinez, when Blake was here, he had a lot of tackles too, but a lot of them are running backwards or trying to chase guys down, whereas I feel like Campbell's been much more aggressive. They're playing sideline to sideline, moving up to make the tackle instead of running guys down 7 or 8 yards downfield. Just a much different dynamic, much different look, much different feel to the defense. Brings an intensity that was really lacking in the middle for a long time. So that's my.
He has intense eyes as well. That's one thing about him. Very intense eyes. The only thing about Devondre Campbell that I would like that was a little bit different is that he was more physical as a tackler. He's not very physical as a tackler, but he covers a lot of grounds. He gets guys he tackles guys and gets them on the ground. And he's pretty good in pass coverage. He's pretty good at a lot of stuff, and he's fast enough to even be a shadow guy for a speedy quarterback if they actually give him that assignment. If they don't give him that assignment, like in some games, and then the quarterbacks run all over the place, that's just dumb. But when they give him that assignment, he's pretty effective at it. So, both guys great seasons, and I will just point out to counter Rick's point a little bit is that Douglas, didn't get the opportunity to play until 7 games in or whatever. So
yeah, they were still sharing time with. He was still sharing time with Kevin King in the Viking game because that's the point. Despite the fact that the coaches are stupid and tried to keep him out of the game after he single-handedly won a game, he still was able to come in there and be a difference maker, and that's. But I mean, Campbell's awesome. Don't get me. I mean, he is awesome.
Right on. All right, let's get back to it. Let's continue on here. So we are going to move on. I did have a better layout for this, but my file size was too large. Sorry, guys. We had too many awards, but a lot of Packers deserved awards this year. So here we go with the next choice, which is the most improved. And my most improved player is A.J. Dillon. Big legs, big load. He was Ben's offensive guy. To me, he was most improved.
I mean, I think he has improved, yes. And I did say that earlier. And as Zero said that he thinks that we wasted money on Aaron Jones. Or it seems like we wasted money on Aaron Jones. Don't ever say that, Zero. Aaron Jones is the heartbeat of the Packers. You can't say stuff like that. But A.J. Dillon is awesome. But I would say that I don't think he was most improved. I think he just had a better chance, more opportunities.
Yeah, sure, okay. I can ride
Williams
with that.
was gone. But he was improved. I think his hands are better. I think his pass protection is better.
Pass protection a lot better this year.
And I think his pad level is better. He gets lower to the ground. Like I said, I wish he would just stop trying to Derrick Henry guys and just run them over. Do Dorsey Levens. Don't Derrick Henry. Dorsey Levens it.
And, when I was looking up pictures for him, there were some – because there are a lot of pictures where they don't actually have in-game photos, that you can find on the internet. And I was looking at pictures for Dillon, and I saw some where he's actually running in-game with the ball, and you kind of couldn't see his number, but you could see just his body positioning and stuff. he looked a lot like Dorsey Levens. Like he's
Yeah.
he's a little bigger, but just the way he runs, the size, the kind of way he leans, the way he cuts is very similar to one of your favorite running backs, Ben. So, I totally get it. And I think that was a big difference for me this year. Last year, he ran a lot more straight up and he didn't finish off runs. He was still a big guy that was physical and hard to tackle, but I didn't see him getting that forward movement that I wanted to see from a 250-pound back, being, tackled by most of the time guys that are lighter than him. And this year, you're seeing it. You're seeing guys bounce off, but you're also seeing him finish. And then the other thing, he's getting helped out by, Lukey Patrick, John Runyon, those guys, and Yash going in there and pushing him around too once in a while to finish off runs, which is always helpful. So,
Well,
like that
all I
too.
know is there's a time earlier this year you were calling out A.J. Dillon.
I was, because he was he didn't get into that lowering his pads until about the 6th or 7th game where he really started to get down a little more and really started to get that push. And that was what I wanted to see. Because I was sick of seeing, I saw Eddie Lacy and I heard everybody talk about Eddie Lacy. Oh, he's so physical. But he went down pretty easy a lot. And he
got tired.
He wasn't that physical of a guy to me. For his size, he should have been able to be more of a guy that ran through contact. And instead, I saw him get tackled a lot easier than I would have liked. And I didn't want to see a repeat of that with another second-round pick. And I was worried after his first year that was what we were going to get. But now I'm seeing more out of A.J. Dillon, the versatility, the ability to catch the ball, his pass protection much improved. So I think that's why he's my most improved. Let's get on to Ben's most improved. Keep it going here for the Packer regular season awards from Hafeman Bros. Ben's most improved. Let's get into it because Ben had a Ben didn't follow the rules. Now, I know this is not surprising to anybody because I said, first I was lining up all these awards and I was like, and then we had offense, defense. I'm like, man, this is too many awards. Let's narrow it down for most improved, just be one player, not an offensive defense. A couple other categories, just one player, not O-N-D. And Ben didn't follow the rules. He gave me an offense and a defense. So let's get to his offensive player of the year, most improved, which is this guy right here, number 73, Yash Nijman. And the reason I picked this photo is because, look, he's already got Bakhtiari's coaching down, holding that guy's shoulder pad really good, like Mo would like to see. Look at that. Look at that grab right on that shoulder pad. Anyway, Ben, why did you pick Yash for most improved?
Well, I'm telling you, even as of this offseason, I was wondering, why do we still have this guy? For 2 years.
A lot of people were wondering that.
Maybe, I don't even know, maybe this is his 4th year. I can't remember if it's his 4th or his 3rd year. But for 2 years, he made the active roster, was on the active roster.
We never saw him.
Never played.
Yeah.
We had to get Jared Valdir. We had to get Ricky Wagner or whatever his name was. We had to get all these guys off the scrap heap from other teams to play because this guy wasn't ready to play. Yet they gave him a roster spot because they were afraid that someone's going to pick him up off the practice squad. I don't know. But to think that he went from not even being able to have trust to even play in a game, much less, start, to have to come in and be a key contributor for almost the majority of the year and really do a wonderful job when you look at it. I mean, he got beat a couple times, don't get me wrong. And Rodgers his time clock on getting the ball out of his hand, Rodgers, way faster because he's got Billy Turner on one side and Yash on the other, who's, a young guy and all that stuff and hasn't not that much experience. But when you go from seeing zero time for 2 years straight to coming in and having to start and doing a really good job and holding down the fort at left tackle for the majority of the year, that's most improved to me. I mean, that's an amazing turnaround from a guy who I was even wondering, why is he on the team anymore? Why can't we draft somebody good? I've always said, let's draft a tackle, let's get somebody in the first couple rounds here or whatever. Some year. And here we're hanging on to this guy who I don't know if they drafted him or just signed him out, because he's a dancing bear, right? He's got incredible athleticism and great feet and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he proved it this year. He came out and played awesome. And to me, that's most improved. When you can go from being not even on the radar, not even getting a chance to play, to beating out other guys. They put him in there before they put in the Dave Bakhtiari lookalike guy. What the heck is his name? Forgot his name.
Yeah, Dennis Kelly.
Dennis Kelly, yeah.
Right.
So, and I know Kelly was mostly right tackle, not really left tackle, but still. So that's my thing with Yash. I think it's It's like I don't know if it's even if I guess maybe it's not improved. It's just
Well,
played,
he's
and he
right.
came in there and he played great. So
You could say the similar thing, opportunity, right? He didn't have opportunity before, but there were people that said, I mean, when we saw him, I guess the difference for me was when we saw him this preseason and he was starting games. He was going against the ones from other teams,
yeah,
and he held up. And I was like, okay. And that's why when, Bakhtiari wasn't in and they were trying to figure out the guard situation and all this other stuff, and I was like, why don't they just put Jenkins at guard and let him play? And then eventually they had to let him play, and he looked great. So, I can get down with your pick here too for sure. I think it's very valid. Rick, what do you got? What do you think these picks?
I agree pretty much with everything Ben has said to this point. Yeah, I mean, I remember there was a show, I think you might have had a really insightful guest on talking about all these guys that they just stockpiled and would never play. We're like, okay, why are they hanging on to these guys? Are they any good? If they are good, why aren't they playing? And Yash was definitely one of those guys that was kind of being questioned. Like, why are they hanging on to him? Right? And I mean, what he's accomplished, I think, has been really quite remarkable. But again, as you pointed out, is it really improved when there's no baseline to compare against? And I think similarly with Dylan, the opportunities he had last year being so limited, it's hard to say he was really that much improved. So, while I think both these guys deserve the recognition that you each have given them, I don't think either one of them would be my pick for most improved. But let's see who Ben has down for his defensive most improved, because we might be on the same page.
Okay, all right, let's check it out. We'll get into most improved. Ben, who didn't follow the rules, not a rule follower, probably never has been. He gave me an offensive most improved, defensive most improved, which was he was like right there with AJ Dillon for me, was this guy, and he was awesome this year. The only argument I had with him being most improved is, again, maybe opportunities more, but we are really glad that he took the step he did, and that Zadarius Smith allowed him to take that step. Thank you to Zadarius Smith. We appreciate it.
Well,
right? Because I mean, think about this season. If Zadarius Smith was still around, chewing up snaps, would we have seen this impact from Rashawn Gary? Would we have seen it? I don't know that we would have.
No, and you know what else we would have seen? We would have seen the Packers defense do so well in a lot of games that they play great in. Here's a key stat from PFF I heard today, or earlier this week, or whenever it was. Rashawn Gary has the highest pressure rate of any player in the NFL this year. The highest pressure rate. Not the most pressures. That actually belongs to a Raider who had 101 pressures this year, Max Crosby, who we'll get into that later. But Rashawn Gary had the highest pressure rate. Think about that. And he's following the defense. He's not just rushing the quarterback on every single play like Zadarius Smith did.
Right.
He is actually trying to do his job a lot of the time. Hold up against, and people were complaining, saying that he, got out of his lane when they were playing against the Browns. But a lot of some of those were stunts. So, I mean, you can't complain. I mean, come on, people. Look at the defense. Know what you're talking about. But this guy went from, was he a bust? I don't know. That's what we were thinking after year one.
Yeah.
Couldn't see the field.
We were hard on him year one.
He didn't play in the NFC Championship game his first year. Remember that? He never even he suited up, but he didn't even play. Remember that? And we were like, why is he? And we were like, why isn't he out there? He got to be better than these two idiots who can't freaking stop the run. Remember? They couldn't stop the run at all. I was like, just put Gary in there. Why is he even he had like 3 plays or whatever in the whole NFC Championship game. And then 2 years later, he gets the highest pressure rate in the NFL. That's insane. That he's really all the things that Mike Smith has talked about. He's a great guy. He listens. He works hard and all this kind of stuff. And he plays within the system and still produces big stats against the pass rush. And then he also holds up against the run, gets tackles for loss, gets off blocks, helps out his teammates. He's been great. And that's why I couldn't have just one guy. I had to have 2.
Rick, thoughts? Is this who you're going for?
Yes, Rashawn would have been my pick for most improved. I think certainly from his rookie year to last year, he'd made some steps. Saw some improvements. Certainly, playing time was a factor in that. But I think the difference this year is the discipline that he's shown, where he's not just doing the. Well, let's face it, the whole defense last year wasn't very disciplined. So I think some of his improvement is, whether it's attributed to the change in the entire defensive mentality, is the Joe Barry impact, or just coaching starting to get more intuitive, following his instincts, and just trusting that he can make the play, trust his instincts, make the play on the ball, make the play on the quarterback. It just seems like he's playing smarter, right? It's not just the go get the quarterback, run around like crazy Z and Preston crap that we were seeing the previous 2 years, right? I mean, you look at what Preston has done this year under Joe Barry, and again, whether it's the Barry system or something else that's making the change, Preston's been playing much more efficiently too. So I think some of it is the defense overall has become more focused, more disciplined, and that's improving his numbers. But the guy's become a legitimate pass rusher, right? I mean, he's someone that the offensive has to start paying attention to, planning for the number of quarterback hits that he's had this year. I don't know where he ranks overall in the league. I was just going to check that, didn't get to it. That's got to be up there, right? And this was a guy who didn't see the field really much at all 2 years ago. Last year was negligible. So certainly with Z out, he had to step up, and I think he responded in a big way. And I certainly hope in the playoffs, if Z comes back, that Z can give him a boost, but that it doesn't take too many snaps away from Gary. He's taken a big step up. He should be one of the defensive leaders on this team for a good number of years to come.
I also hope we're going to move along here because we got more awards to get to, but I also hope that based on the way Preston Smith has played and Rashawn Gary has played, and Whitney Merciless coming back out of nowhere, nobody saw that. That was announced here. That Zadarius Smith is, if he is involved, that he's highly motivated when he's on the field, because these other guys have shown and should be pushing him, hopefully, to be the highly motivated Z from 2019 and not the guy we saw last year who was just kind of looking to make one play here and there a game. So anyway, that's what I'm hoping for.
That's even what he said.
Right. Yeah, he said it. I mean, he told everybody that's what his goal was. Make a play.
Make a play or two a game, and everybody goes crazy.
Yep.
No, make every play.
Right.
Do your job and make every play, you ding-dong.
Play your assignment. And if you, as Packers fans, if you listen to Matt LaFleur's comments this week, that's some good-ass comments about guys playing their role. And when people asked him about Z coming back, and then he didn't specifically address that directly in this, but he said really compelling stuff right off of that question, which just said, when guys don't play within the role or the scheme of the defense, and he's only been in this defense for a little while actually on the field, you can see what things can happen and how they can go wrong, and we need guys doing their job. And so Matt LaFleur gets it. He's not a dum-dum. He's getting it, and he's hopefully got things turned in the right direction. Let's go to the next one. The next one is probably my favorite award because it's glue guys. It's not always the guys that get all the pub and they're the greatest and they're all this stuff, but they're the guys that hold it together. And you guys know who my glue guy is. It's this guy right here, number 62. How could you pick any other glue guy? It's actually Ben's glue guy too, because there is no other glue guy. This is the glue guy. He holds stuff together. He held a makeshift line together. He's unbelievably awesome. This is our offensive glue guy here for Ben. We did offensive defense on this one because I think it's important. And I chose this picture here because he is actually one of the only offensive linemen to have multiple kick returns in his career. Now, true, he did fumble on the one, but he does have 2 kick returns in his career, as well as being an awesome glue guy and try-hard guy. But he held it together. Look, Josh Myers, their second-round pick, goes down, right? And what are they going to do at center? They had different options. They had the guy they drafted last year or 2 years ago in the 6th round. They could have went to him. But no, who's the guy that steps in wherever you need him, when you need him, just ready to go? He had a rough preseason, and I was disappointed in him in the preseason. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't sure he didn't look like himself. And then he got a chance to settle in at center. And to me, and he's played that before, like his rookie year and his second year, he did spot duty at center with injuries, and he played well. And that's when he got on my radar, and I liked him then. I've been a fan ever since then. But he stepped in at center and showed me that his awareness, his smarts, his ability to start on a block and help somebody else and then go help clean stuff up in another direction was not something that a lot of guys know how to do, have the instincts to do, have the awareness to do. And I understand Myers is more imposing, but I don't think personally, and you can tell me I'm wrong, but if Josh Myers was the starting center this whole season, I do not think the Packers would have 13 wins. I think they would have 1 or 2 less wins. They still would have won the division. But without Lucas Patrick, I don't think they would be the number 1 seed. And he held it all together. With all these young guys next to him, I love him. You know I love him, but he's also a really important guy for holding it together. That's my thought. Ben, why did you pick him for your glue guy?
Well, first of all, I have to say I think you made this category just to get Lucas Patrick on the award show. That's
not at all. Glue guys are important, and
yeah, they are important. But I'm pretty sure you made this category just to get him on because you know that I was going to pick him too because he's awesome. Everybody knows Lucas Patrick's the man. Anytime you have a guy who blocks guys up till the whistle, that is the key. When you have a guy who helps other young guys learn what's going on, that is the key. When you have a guy who's surrounded by a second-year guy and a rookie guy, and he has got to keep everybody together, then you got Yash coming in. I mean, there's 3 young guys all around him for the majority of the year when he's playing center, and he's got to get everybody on the right track, make sure things are going right, snap the ball. I'm actually happy. I hope that they do him at right guard and have Myers at center. I personally think he's better at right guard than he is at center. I think sometimes he's got a little bit of issue of snapping and getting up and getting ready to block somebody. And when they put a big, like if we had to go up against Tampa Bay and like Vita Vea, I think Vita Vea would eat him alive. And it would be really bad. But if you put him at guard, where he can help out on either side and he's able to, the Packers offensive line looked great on that first couple drives against the Lions. It was mostly just Rodgers doing dumb stuff and throwing to the wrong guy or whatever when they didn't, he's looking for Devontae all the time to give him the record, and that was about it. But, you know me, I got to get a little dig in there. But Lucas Patrick is the man. You know that.
Rick, offensive glue guy, what do you think?
I can get on board with this. The offensive line's been kind of a mess all year.
Yeah.
But I think what earns it for him in this one is, the offensive line gets crapped on as a whole. He gets crapped on. No one really gave him a shot at the start of the year. He was always the guy that was on the bubble. Like, is he going to make it? They've got all these, like Ben Braden, right? Ben Braden comes in. He was going to be the greatest thing. Royce comes in. He's going to be the greatest thing. Like, all these guys were going to be so much better than Lucas Patrick. But, they need someone to step in. Fine, he does it. He's still, basically acting like the leader of the offensive line, right? His head's up. He's playing until the whistle. He's going hard. He gets no respect. People bag on him after every game, but he's still out there, and it's just like, hey, this is why I'm here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. This is what I got. I'm going to give you what I got. And, week in, week out, he keeps bouncing back. He doesn't fire shots back when people are bagging on him. And, if he gets benched, he'll come back the next time they call on him, and he'd just show up and play again.
Exactly. That's what I said. Like, he's always there for him. Just tell me where to play when you need me, and I'll go in and do my thing, and I'll go and give him my best shot. And he was, if you didn't watch Total Packers this week, or there's a breakout of his interview, and he actually sacrificed interview time so they could do the David Bakhtiari promo I'm back thing, which is part of the 20-minute show. Normally they have a longer player interview, but Lucas's interview was shortened because they had this Bakhtiari thing they did, which is fine. He was fine with that too, because that's who he is. He does whatever needs to be done for this team. That's why he's not only my favorite Packer on this team, but he is my favorite Packer of all time.
Whoa!
Favorite Packer of all time. I can't help it. I watched his interview, and I got emotional. I almost cried twice. And Larry McCarron shows his some plays from him. He's like, some of my favorite Lucas Patrick plays. And he shows the one where he blocks Anthony Barr like 20 yards downfield, and then was holding him he was holding him so good inside that Barr couldn't get away, and then he just pancaked him at the end. I'm like, what more do you want? Like, that's a football player. And then the guy doesn't ever and the other thing that I'll say about him, he is the first guy to pick a guy up off the ground. He's the first guy to run into the end zone and hoist his teammate after scoring a touchdown. The guy never gets to score a touchdown, but he's always the first guy there to recognize his teammate and celebrate with him. Like, I want that guy on my team, and I'm so glad he's there. And I'm so glad he's got a chance to play.
That's also the definition of a glue guy. I think he is a key piece that keeps the running backs as part of the group. He keeps the quarterback, the wide receivers, the tight. Like, I think he gets along with everybody on that team. You know what I mean? I think that's another thing about him, because he's always giving high fives to dudes, hugging dudes, all that kind of stuff, no matter who they are. And the thing about that interview I really liked, when he was asked about his own play and his own stuff, he spent more time talking about DeGuara and his improvement over the year than he even talked about himself and how great he was playing. That interview you talked about with Larry McCarron.
Oh yeah, the play
because they talked about that, and he didn't want to talk about himself taking out two guys. He talked about how he was super excited for DeGuara to make that huge play, and maybe and that'll help him get more confidence, and then he'll be even better in the playoffs, and they'll be able to use him, and and he'll be whatever. But it's just Lucas is always thinking about somebody else, and that is the key to a glue guy. A glue guy is worried about what everybody else is doing, and then he also can do his job too. And that's why he is the glue guy of the team on offense for sure.
All right, let's move on. Sorry, I know I go on too long. Here's my defensive glue guy, Adrian Amos. My caption says it all right here. Solid, smart, plus good at catching, which so many of the defensive backs are not. Adrian Amos, my defensive glue guy. Let's get to Ben's defensive glue guy. Pick up the pace. It's Devondre Campbell. Campbell, Ben's
I like that
glue
first
guy.
Picture.
I know. Well, I found these pictures specifically for you, Ben. I wanted to make sure I picked him out. Now, this was when he was still in Atlanta. Look what he did to Aaron Rodgers' head here. Now, and not face masking, just tackling above the face mask, twisting the head around. That's totally legal. And Devondre Campbell in the middle, and I just put this, in the middle is a good place for glue. And that's where he was, in the middle of the defense, good place for glue. Devondre Campbell, Ben's defensive glue guy. There you go.
The reason why I picked him for glue guy and not Packer Defensive Player of the Year is because I think part of his stats this year and his impact is him being as a player, but it's also the change of the defense and the fact that guys are actually doing their jobs instead of, like we've said this many times. When Blake Martinez left, he said, "My job was to clean up the mess." I don't think Devondre Campbell's job is to clean up the mess. Devondre Campbell's job is to be an impact player. He's even said that. People have asked him, why is it that you were able to do, get all these tackles and make all these plays? And he's like, well, this is the first time I've been on a team where my job is to do that. Like, and sometimes people need to realize within a scheme of a defense, they'll take you and put you in different places. And sometimes your job is to clean up the mess. Sometimes your job is to make the play and be able to be free to make the play. And when he is not in the game, they could still make plays, but he seems to be just the right amount of speed, intelligence, strength, savvy, veteran, like everything all together. And he's changed the defense by, when everybody does their job, here's a guy who can do the little extra bit, get everybody lined up in the right spot. Like, your middle linebacker should be your glue guy. He should be. Because if he ever screws up, you're in deep trouble. And the glue is what holds everything together, and that's what the middle linebacker should do. And this is the first time I think we've ever had a middle linebacker who is a glue guy. Since, I don't know. I can't think of, maybe
Bernardo,
probably the last one. Because A.J. Hawk was nice.
Yep.
And he was pretty good, but he didn't have this guy's speed and that sort of thing. Yep. Where Campbell seems to be able to like do things that other guys can't, but he's also in charge of getting guys lined up in the right spot and all that kind of stuff. And
right.
But it's more. I don't know if he was asked to do the same thing that Blake Martinez was asked to do. I think he would look the same. I think it's partly the scheme, but he does do a good job of his role in that scheme, which is to stay free, go sideline to sideline, try to make sure you're making plays. all that kind of stuff.
All right, Ekis has got a new question on here. Can we have an award, most likely to be a Packer wide receiver next year? Ekis, why are you looking at next year? You were the one telling us not to look at next year.
Amari Rodgers.
Rick, give us a.
He's the only one under
most likely to be a
contract.
Packer wide receiver next year.
Most likely to be a wide receiver next year.
Yeah, and then we're gonna move on.
Equinemius St. Brown, because they're gonna love him
Oh!
after his strong finish.
Could we possibly make a trade and get the other St. Brown? Because that guy looked pretty good. I like him a lot. Dang, why couldn't we got that St. Brown?
We could have.
Just saying.
He wasn't drafted very high.
Dang. All right, so let's keep it moving. But before we get to that, we got to give you a quick disc, because just a quick reminder, not to forget. All right, now we're back. Now this is the different award that I wanted to throw in there. I call it the Overcomer. The Overcomer. Now the person that some people might think that's dirty. Don't. This is the person that's overcome a lot this season, okay? And my Overcomer for the Green Bay Packers is the one and only number 2, Mason Crosby. Now, I will clearly point out, he still makes me worried. I'm still scared. And look at this photo here. Like on the right, that we've seen both. We've seen the 2 fingers up and the happy, and we've seen the pulling the face mask down this season plenty of times. But the biggest thing to remember here is he still wears number 2. So number 2, always believe in number 2 is my motto, and number 2 is the best number. So with those things, I believe in Mason Crosby. He is my Overcomer of the year. I feel like him and the field goal operation have finally gotten it figured out, hopefully, and he's kicking it more straight, more consistently for the first time in his career. So I feel like he is going to be the Overcomer for the regular season. I give it to Mason Crosby. You hate that. All right, let's go to Ben's Overcomer, because nobody likes my Overcomer.
I like it. I think that's a good pick.
Okay.
He has to overcome something. He could be the Overcomer if he does well in the playoffs. At this point, he's undercome.
Man, how many Viking seasons have you been around for where their kickers, like, they might as well just go for a 2-point conversion because they can't even make a stupid extra point?
Yeah, I know, but it's just
Mason
missed an extra point in his last game.
Look,
he's bounced back.
I know, but the thing is, like this, there are a lot of people talking about that right now. The concern about his inconsistency this year costing them a tight playoff game. We're going to find out. And if he comes through in the playoffs, then he'll finalize this pick. But I believe in number 2. I've always believed in number 2. It's my favorite number, so I'm going to go with Mason Crosby for my Overcomer. Let's get to Ben's Overcomer. Who is this guy? He appears a few times on this awards list. He's won a number of awards. Rasul Douglas is Ben's Overcomer, and for many reasons, including one of them being 4 different teams this season. 3 teams basically said he definitely wasn't good enough to even be on their rosters or their active rosters or whatever. And he has become the star of the Packers defensive secondary and one of the stars of the probably the star of the defense at this point. And he's Ben's Overcomer for that and probably his whole backstory as well.
Yeah, we don't need to say anything here. It's obvious.
He's awesome.
This guy he overcame everything. He overcame nobody giving him a shot. He overcame people giving up on him. He overcame all the things. He studied. He worked hard. He came in. He's making plays. Does he screw up every now and again? Yeah. But he's a very, very good tackler. He's aggressive. He's great ball skills. He's able to break up plays, get interceptions, cover dudes, everything you want out of a guy. And to think that 3 months ago nobody wanted him.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So he's my Overcomer.
All right. Next category, let's get into it, is the biggest impact. And we agreed on this one. And sorry, Rick, I had to give it to you a little bit here because when I looked for pictures online, this is one of the pictures I saw, Rasul Douglas. When the Packers signed him, they showed him in a Raiders uniform. So he's the biggest impact guy of the whole team in the season. Like, you did not expect this guy to be there clearly because he wasn't even on our team. And look what he's done. So save the team, saving the season. Sorry, Rick. Raiders didn't keep him. But the Raiders are still in the playoffs, so maybe they'll meet in the Super Bowl. You never know. You know how he likes to play against the teams that cut him and
That's
undervalued
what I
him.
was just gonna say. That could add an element of drama to that Super Bowl.
I don't think that anyone can argue this pick. If they do, they don't have a good argument. So I don't think there's more to say here. Ben,
Just
Rick.
for sake of argument,
Okay,
I
for
give an
sake of
honorable
argument.
mention to Bajorquez.
Oh, Bojo.
Oh,
He
I
did
mean,
have an impact.
Bajorquez has certainly made special teams a little less special this season. As bad as special teams have been, can you imagine if we still had Scott doing the kicking?
yeah, that'd be really
I
bad.
mean,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's see. A guy who single-handedly won 2.5 games, or the punter. Yeah.
I said honorable
Yeah,
mention,
Yeah.
not
Okay.
just,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, I was once yeah.
Punters get shafted all the time. You got to throw a bone to the.
All right.
Of course,
Fair
the only punter in the Hall of Fame is a Raider, so of course you would have to bring up the punter. Is that right?
There it is. There it is.
Okay, I got you.
Sometimes when you're not very good, the punter is an important position.
Fair enough. Let's get into our next category, which is one of my second favorite category, or maybe right up there with Blue Guy, which is Best Packer Representative. So the guy that is the best person, probably, that represents the organization. He's a good player, but also represents the organization in the right way, and just a damn good guy. And Ben and I agreed on this one because we both agreed that it was the one and only Mr. Aaron Jones, number 33. He's the team candidate for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He should win the award. I don't know when the last time the Packers won that award, but Aaron Jones probably should win it.
And I think you made this category just to get my favorite guy on here, so I appreciate that too. You made Glue Guy for Lukey. You made this one for Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is the best Packer. He's just the best guy of all time. He's the nicest, most respectful, most hardworking. He's always there for his teammates. He's blocking for wide receiver. He blocks for Allen Lazard on the end around. He blocks more than Devontae Adams. He blocked more in one play than Devontae Adams has blocked all year long. That's the definition of a Packer. A good guy who works hard. He's there for his teammates. He's as excited when A.J. Dillon makes a huge run as when Jamal Williams would make a huge run, even though he's not in the game. He's always been that way. And that's the type of guy who can really, really, he just, when I think of a Packer, or the type of guy that I want to be a Packer, it's Aaron Jones. Period.
And I know one other thing. I mean, don't forget, he lost his dad earlier this year after complications after COVID and stuff. And then he had to go back into this whole scenario. Like, think about that. What that would do to you as a person, and you lose your dad, and it was to this whole thing. And then you got to go back in this environment of playing football where you work in this work environment where you got a lot of people that have to interact. And when you play games, you're interacting at that close of a contact with everybody around you. I mean, but he stayed focused. He bounced back. His dad's always been in his life. I mean, that loss on top of overcoming everything else with the virus and all that stuff, on top of just being an awesome dude, represents the Packers. I mean, clear choice. I did not pick the category just so Aaron Jones could get in here, just like I didn't pick a Glue Guy for Lucas. It's just those are important categories to me. I know the NFL doesn't give out those awards, but for a team and for an organization, these are two really important categories, and that's why I picked them, not to get our guys on the list. Just heads up. Aaron Jones. Rick, what do you think of that pick?
Good choice.
All right, fair enough.
Short
Let's move
and
on. We have now the MVPP. So, some people would say the most valuable player, but I say the most valuable Packer player. MVPP is the short version of that. And some of you may be surprised, but my pick for MVPP is Aaron Rodgers. And I also say he should win the MVP from the NFL too. Maybe co-MVP.
With Derek Carr.
The Colts losing that last game kind of sucked for Johnny Taylor's case, but I still think he had a good enough year. And actually, I looked up Cooper Kupp stats today. Almost 2,000 yards receiving. Like, that's freaking insane. And maybe he should. I don't know. I just feel like it should be quarterback and either outstanding wide receiver or outstanding running back split this year would be if it were up to me, but maybe that's just me. All right. Now, Ben, should we talk? Rick, I'll let you comment on this in a second. Now, Ben, let's get to Ben's choice. I'm sure you guys are wondering, who did Ben pick for MVPP, most valuable Packer player? And Ben picked also Aaron Rodgers. Now, the reason why I separated this because I wanted to build a little bit of drama there, but also because I wanted to pick a different picture for Ben to show Ben. Well, look at this picture on the left. Now, this picture on the right is probably Aaron Rodgers' most famous picture. Also, it really exemplifies the man here. I wanted to bring that to you. But look at this picture on the left, Ben. Now, this I thought was great for you because, one, it's Devontae Adams in the pass pattern that he's throwing to. It's probably an incompletion, when you see the coverage here. But also, no feet on the ground, and he's throwing the football. So what do you think of all that? That's why I picked this picture for you.
Well, I don't care about the picture much, but okay. Listen, I was hoping to see something from Jordan Love to make it seem like, hey, maybe the system is good enough to carry it. And either LaFleur and the system aren't good enough to carry the team, or Jordan Love stinks. I don't know which one it is. But without Aaron Rodgers, we're screwed. So as long as that's the case, he's the most valuable backer by far. I mean, there's nobody more important that's a player on this team than Aaron Rodgers. Okay. He is the key. If he goes down, we're done. We are done. And as much as I have been saying I don't like him for 3 years straight now, I can look past my feelings for the guy and still say he's one hell of a player. And so if he would just stop
you should probably
looking
get
at
that
Devontae all the time.
Vote. You're better than Hub Arkish then. You can put your personal feelings aside.
Yeah, well, Hub Arkish is a ding-dong.
When you told me he was from Chicago, I'm like, oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it was. He was on a Chicago radio show, and he just was kind of like buttering up the Chicago fans. And then next thing you know, boom, it turned into a big mess. But that's the point. What I'm saying is this. Aaron Rodgers, definitely the best player on the team. Definitely the most valuable player. Like, if he goes down, we're screwed. It's a no-brainer.
Fair enough. Rick, any thoughts?
I agree. It's pretty clear choice.
All right.
So kind of jokingly talking about Campbell. Maybe he's the team MVP. I really don't think it's close. To Ben's point about hoping to see more from Love, I think part of the impact that Rodgers makes is because he's so much bigger than just the quarterback position on this team, right? I mean, I think you could argue that it's his team. Maybe that's been part of the, if there's been a power struggle, whatever going on at the front office for the last few years, maybe that's what led to the Love pick, who knows? But it's pretty clear it's his team, better or worse, right? I mean, it's offense, yeah, LaFleur's calling it, but how often is it going through him or getting tweaked, or he's going to do what he wants to do? Now you take another quarterback, especially a young guy, and plug it in. There's going to be some adjustment, right? I mean, it's not just plug and play where you've got, a young quarterback that you're swapping out for another young quarterback, right? The connection that he has with Adams is special because of those two guys knowing each other so well, maybe the tunnel vision looking into it. But I don't think there's any denying that physically Rodgers is, I think, the best quarterback, right? I mean, just physically what he can do, throwing the ball where he wants to throw the ball. And maybe that's led to some of the poor decision making, where even saying that, you almost have to qualify it, because the poor decision from him is still going to be a good throw for most other quarterbacks, right? But he doesn't take the easy things. And I think that's where you start splitting hairs between him and Brady. Yeah, Brady's going to take what you give him. Whereas, I agree with what Ben said. I don't think Rodgers likes the easy throws. He wants something that's challenging. He wants to make it happen. And yeah, I think that costs him and costs the team sometimes, right? You don't take the easy stuff. You go for what you want or what you're going to try to pull off. But yeah, he's going to leave huge shoes to fill. But whenever the time comes, whether it's next year, whether it's 5 years, whatever, there's going to be some growing pains. But I think it's whether it's Love, Bankert, someone else, whoever, there's going to take some time because the entire team is going to have to kind of reform and find. You can't just have a quarterback ad-libbing it who's got an offensive coordinator brain going on in his head, knowing exactly what's going on, reading coverages better than the guys up in the box. Right? I mean, he brings so much more to the team than just an arm. And I really don't think there's any question that if he wasn't on the field, yeah, they wouldn't be in first place. They wouldn't have the top seed. They wouldn't have home field advantage. They might not have made the playoffs.
I think
if you
that's
love. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say is I think that's the key. I think I don't want, and that's the only concern I have with like Jordan Love learning behind him is Jordan Love. I don't want you to try to be him. I don't want Jordan Love playing that way. I want Jordan Love to come in, or whoever the next guy is, come in, run the offense, run the plays, get coached up. Maybe you get to sort of that level or close to that level at some point in your career. But just come in and run the plays right now. Don't try to make all the adjustments. Think the same way Aaron Rodgers does. Like, there's very few guys that could play like that. So that's my only concern about when the switch happens to another quarterback. So I don't want him to try to play the game the way Rodgers plays it. But the way he plays it, he is clearly the MVP. So we got one more really interesting award here. Now, this is why we separated this out. Because that's why we had the MVPP, not most valuable player, most valuable Packer player. We now have the most important Packer. Now this could be player, this could be coach, this could be training staff, this could be front office between these awards. And I thought this was important to recognize as well. So my most important Packer is this guy right here, the head coach. Matt LaFleur. He should win NFL Coach of the Year. You're talking about the winningest coach in his first 3 seasons. People will try to say, oh, well, he's got such a great quarterback. Yeah, but he has dealt with a bunch of stuff, and he has rolled with all of it. And he has figured out the offense, and he has brought in a new defensive coordinator. Look, when he took the job, Mike Pettin was the defensive coordinator, an experienced guy, a guy who had been the head coach before. Like, all that stuff was on the table, and he had to manage that situation and then figure out, even though Mike Pettin's a smart guy, and even though he's got experience as a head coach, I've got to go another direction here to improve this defense. And he did. He's worked with clowns like Mark Murphy, for crying out loud. And he's figured out how to bridge the gap and somehow not get himself in the middle of the battle between Rodgers and the front office, and somehow still be good with the front office, but still be good with Rodgers, to the point where when Rodgers came back, LaFleur made it all work. So he's highly undervalued as a coach because the head coach needs to manage all the people, needs to make sure it all works together. That's his number one job. And also pay attention to the areas that aren't going the way you'd like to. And don't forget, he also calls the plays. So he's got to do all that other stuff while calling the plays. Now, I think he's done an amazing job. I've been critical with him at times when I thought certain things were happening, but I was wrong. Matt LaFleur is a really great head coach for this team, for this day and age of the NFL. And look, you cannot argue with the results. You just can't. And and he's dealt with criticism too. He deflects praise. He takes the criticism. Like, what more do you want from a head coach? The guy's been amazing. He's my most important Packer. So that's what I say about him. Ben's most important Packer, which we'll give you next. I thought we were gonna agree on this one, but we didn't, because Ben had a different most important Packer, and it was front office. And it was this guy right here. And I picked out a couple of photos for you, Ben, because I thought they encapsulated you and Goody pretty well, especially this one here. He's pretty happy here. But look who's in the shadow over here. Is that smile? Anyway, and then Goody's like, what'd you say? What'd you say to me? I'm not the best GM of all time? I'm Brian Gutekunst, baby. And then my caption here says it all. Shouldn't be fired this year, even though a lot of people earlier this year said he should be fired.
I thought should be fired this year, maybe next year. Listen, a lot of people are probably thinking, what the heck? I have portrayed Brian Gutekunst on this floor as a complete moron in the past. We did a role play one time where I was just like, I'm an idiot.
That's right.
And listen, and I've done that. But for him to do what he's done this past calendar year, okay?
Fair.
He had to suck it up. He had to take all the shots. There were, everybody was talking about how Rodgers isn't coming back unless Goody's fired, period. And he had to sit up, and Aaron Rodgers didn't talk to the media.
Nope.
When all that stuff was going on. He just hid and said nothing. Where Gutekunst had to keep answering questions with reporters firing at him with all this stuff. He had to somehow, and I know Russ Ball does a lot of this, but rework everybody's cap space, get everybody going, right? He wanted to try to get Rodgers to do some sort of an extension or work on stuff, but Rodgers like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore, so I'm not going to do it to rework my contract to give you more money. Sorry, you deal with the fact that you guys have no money. He knew he couldn't get Devontae because Devontae doesn't want all the money, right? So he couldn't get cap space that way. Those were the two spots to help the Packers get cap space this offseason, and neither of the two players wanted to work with him on that. All the other players had no choice because it was in their contracts that the Packers could do whatever they wanted. So they restructured their deals so that only the salary cap hit would be their salary for this season, which would help them, in the long run to save money this year. All those guys. Amos, everybody did a restructure for, this year. So next year's going to be really bad, but they'll have to figure that out. But they figured all that out. And then what he had to do was make a decision between Corey Linsley and Aaron Jones. And with, luckily, the glue guy we have here, Aaron Jones was a good choice. And people are like, oh, he paid too much money, blah, blah. No, Aaron Jones, we have the glue guy with Lukey. That's our guy we kept. We're completely blank here. I don't know what's going on. And we also had, are you guys still on there? What's going on? I don't know if we're live or what.
Yeah, we're good. I was just putting it solo on you. So.
Oh, okay. Well, all I see is nothing. So don't do that ever again.
I'll bring us back.
Because you just confused me and ruined my whole what I was doing.
I'm sorry,
don't ever do that again. You just ruined everything. I hate this new thing. I really hate it. I like the things stay the same. You know that about me. But anyways, back to what I was saying. He didn't have a lot of cap space to work with. He found Campbell. He found Douglas. He kept Yash after all these years for some reason we don't know. We thought the Jordan Love pick is still a head scratcher to this day. We all know that. But when you compare that to all the Ted Thompson head scratchers, Rashawn Gary's pretty good. Jair Alexander's pretty damn good. Yeah. Savage, jury's still out on him. But, and you would say, well, where's the, even this year's draft class? Where's the impact from this year's draft class? One guy, Stokes. Nobody else has really done anything. And I get that. But he's able to find guys to put in places. He was able to deal with the whole Aaron Rodgers situation, and now Aaron Rodgers is even saying how they're buddies again.
Yeah, Goody repair.
And I can tell you, bridge. We know how Aaron Rodgers can hold a grudge. So Goody had to do a whole lot of work to get Rodgers back to saying they're buddies now again. So I am impressed with what Brian Gutekunst had to do this year. All the things when it comes to managing the team, managing the relationship with Rodgers, admitting that he maybe screwed up. Like maybe he should have talked to Rodgers more. He should have done all that stuff. As a first-time GM, when he's more concerned about, he got the job because of his player evaluations. I don't know if everybody remembers, but when Mike Murphy was going for the position, hiring for the position, he had all the guys come in and bring their evaluations of the Packers over the last 5 seasons. And Gutekunst had the most consistent evaluations with what the players turned out to be. And that's why he chose him. Because he can, tell what players are going to be good, tell what's going on for the most part. He sometimes relies too much on the RAS score or whatever. We know that. But he did need to work on some, his personal interactions and understanding how to work with Rodgers. And in the long run, it could just be better, right? It could just end up working out now. Maybe going through that difficulty. Sometimes, relationships become stronger when there's more diversity and all that kind of stuff. I think he handled it great, and I think that's a key important thing that Gutekunst did this year that I didn't see coming. I thought he was a moron, so he proved me wrong, at least for this year. So I'm going to give him the award for that.
I did too, and then you can't overlook the free agent signings and things like that. Even though other guys may have been the ones that tipped him off to say, "Hey, this is a player we need to get," or "This is a guy we should get." He's the one that ultimately had to make the decision, so you got to give credit. And so I don't have a problem with that either. So that's another reason I made the category, because I think the coach, the head coach, the front office needs to get some recognition for what's come together this year, more than just the players. I know they always deflect and give credit to the players because they're the ones that pull it off on the field. But there's a whole lot more that goes into successful football teams than just the players. And Rick knows that, right, Rick? That's why you don't want Jim Harbaugh. I know.
That's right.
Now, Ekis has one more award here he wants to hear. He's going to throw us an extra award. We'll do it on the fly. We're good with that. One more award, unmentionables. I'm not sure
unmentionables. Whoa,
or something. Guy who stuck around and did what they could just to help the pack. His pick, Preston Smith. Pay cut, played even harder. If we keep him, cool.
It's like the jockstrap award. It's like the
sure, yeah,
unmentionable underwear, but it's all about support.
I like it. Yeah, right. Yeah, what do you got? Rick, what are your thoughts on? We'll do a quick Ekis roundtable on unmentionables or jockstrap if you prefer.
Yeah, I think Ekis has a good pick there. Smith went from somebody that at least everybody on this show was saying should be cut, and he came back, played hard, and has kind of looked reborn, right? I mean, it's been, I think, probably the biggest impact he's made. He's not being outshined by Za'Darius, but he's also, I think, back to playing the role that he should be. He's not out trying to cover guys, right? I mean, some of this, again, I think is benefiting from the scheme. The scheme is stupid. You don't put a guy like that, having him drop back into the flat and pass coverage that often in a game. So, he's back to playing how he should be playing, making an impact, just, been certainly a resurgence, earning his pay, and just getting things done.
I'll say Dean Lowry for that award, Ekis. I think Dean Lowry's he's held up pretty good against the run. He's made some impactful plays and got a couple sacks. He got like 5 sacks this year, which is the most he's ever had in a season. And he's another guy. People didn't want him back. They're like, no, we don't need to sign him back. Cut him. Just cut him, save some money. And he's been an impact player on defense. So both those guys were the same type of thing, where they were kind of forced to take a shot in the paycheck. But they still came out. And I think we have to – maybe Joe Barry is another key guy. Maybe he's an unmentionables. Nobody mentions him because he does the scheme. They talk about the players and all this other stuff, and it's like the difference is guys are when they play their roles and the team. I mean, we shut out a team, right? We shut out the Seahawks. Yeah, Russell Wilson was terrible in that game, but still, we shut him out. Never would have thought that was going to happen, So Joe Barry might be another unmentionable player or part of the team that, hey, maybe he just did the right sort of stuff and got the guys doing the right thing.
It's true.
I'd give him my vote over Goody for the previous award.
Hey. You watch it, Rick.
On. Goody got Rasul Douglas in town. Come on.
That's right.
And now I was going to make a Wheaties award. Dean Lowry would have won the Wheaties award because, when Dean eats his Wheaties, you can always tell when he had a good Wheaties breakfast because he plays super awesome. And you're like against the Lions, he had another good game. He must have ate his Wheaties that day. The only games he doesn't play as well as are the late night games because he can't have Wheaties that late into the night, I think, is the problem. When he gets Wheaties for breakfast and then he plays within, 4 to 6 hours, you see a different Dean Lowry than you do a non-Wheatied Dean Lowry. I just want to point that out for everybody. Now, my unmentionable guy if you want to put me to it, is going to be, there's none other than the new tight end, the guy that's Davis, that's filling in, that came out of nowhere, that nobody talks about. And I think he has become the best pass receiver option at tight end and the best blocker at tight end. And nobody even knew about the guy before. He's my number one unmentionable guy and under the radar guy. I don't even know his first name. That's how unmentionable he is. But he's been really good. I'm really impressed. 84. He's good.
Tyler Davis.
Tyler Davis. That's his name. There you go. So that's the Packer Awards. Hopefully it wasn't a huge disappointment. I know it's probably too long, but we had a lot of awards.
It's always too long.
It's always too long, but that's what we do. We don't do, and let me just clarify real quick. I'll put it on myself here for a second. Let me just clarify real quick. The whole deal here with our show is that we have a Packer show. It is not, we don't make little videos for YouTube like a lot of people make videos for YouTube. That's fine. We do some breakdown. We give some input. We give some insight. We do some opinions. Yes. But ours is a show. So you can come on the show and hang out for 5 minutes. That's cool. You can come on and hang out for 2 hours. That's cool too. Whatever you want. Just know that we're here. We do our show. We cover stuff we want to talk about. And we say it to you straight. And as I put in the YouTube description and also on Facebook, to paraphrase Denny Green, we are who we thought we were. And that's who we bring to you each and every week.
And we let ourselves off the hook.
Let them off the hook. All right. So anyway, now that's enough of all that. Packer Awards. That's what we say. I don't know what you say. Hopefully you agree with all that. Eka says, if you guys would have drank more like I did, would be the best episode ever. Cheers. Hey, Ekis. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the awards. All right. We got some Wild Card Weekend to get into. The highlight of Wild Card Weekend, of course, is the Raiders. And we just call them Rick's Raiders. I don't know what they're called. Why are they called Las Vegas Raiders? It should be called Rick's Raiders, in my opinion, to be honest. Rick, how pumped are you that? Yeah, how pumped are you that your Raiders made the playoffs?
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's a good matchup with the Bengals. I know things didn't go so well earlier this season, but hey, that was then. This is now. I think the Raiders are coming hot off their extended week 18 win. I think both teams offensively can make a big play. They can put up points, but defensively, they're both prone to giving up a lot of points too. So I think for Vegas, the key is going to be getting up early, get a lead so they're not trying to play from behind. Try to make Burrow throw and let your pass rush, like before mentioned, Max Crosby and Ngakwe, get pressure, try to force some mistakes, probably a good chance of getting a turnover, but try to make the Bengals play from behind or at least keep it close. And I think if the Raiders can stay close coming into the fourth quarter, even if they're down by a score, I think they'll pull it out. I think if they get down by several scores, then I think there's a higher risk of seeing the flighty side of Carr. We're trying to do too much or trying to force something, just trying to force a big play to Waller or something that you get a couple of bad turnovers and they just fall apart. And I think that's really going to be the most important thing, is trying to just play smart. Don't lose the game. Stupid penalties, right? I mean, like I said earlier, they've got a long history of just putting themselves in a bad situation where they'll string together 2 or 3 dumb penalties on a drive and just keep the other team's drive alive and let them get back into a game, or just completely blow coverage. And I think that's the scary thing. Like historically, Tyreek Hill would bust one and just destroy him. And I think that's going to be maybe a bit of a concern with the Bengals, is giving up a big play that just swings the momentum. So if they can, again, get to Burrows, keep him unsettled, get the pressure on him, don't let him sit back there and get comfortable, I think they got a decent shot at it. Offensively, they're a pass-heavy team, but they've shown the last few weeks that they're going to run the ball. If that's what the Bengals defense is going to give them, they'll run the ball. I mean, what they pick up a first down on was like 3rd and 26 or something last week. Right? I mean, who really is going to call a running play in that situation? But they pulled it off. So
Yeah, I mean, Josh Jacobs has been pretty. I mean, I just look at the fantasy numbers, but he's been pretty consistent for me fantasy wise. As I've won the Toilet Bowl Award, Ben. I won the Toilet Bowl, stays in the family for Hafeman Fantasy Football. That's pretty awesome.
That's good.
I mean, I know it would have stayed in the family anyway because it was me against Wildman for the Toilet Bowl in the end. But I was really.
So you beat our father, and you're happy about that?
Well, I mean, it's a toilet award. I mean, I have to be happy about that. A toilet, an award that's a toilet, that screams me. Come on. I mean, I know Dad's kind of there too, but come on. Eggis says Bengals by at least 10. Come on, Cincinnati in the championship. Eggis, wow. I disagree. I really think. I think it's the Raiders have something team wise, like because of the stuff we talked about, because they overcame stuff, because of everything they've gone through, because of the leadership, because you have hungry guys on the team, right? Look at Ngakoue, for example. He went to Minnesota and he's like, this team stinks. So he played like trash and then they got rid of him. Now he's on the Raiders. He's playing pretty good. You got Crosby. You got these other guys. You got Casey Hayward's there. You got dudes.
Casey Hayward is there.
Casey Hayward. Just think, the Packers still have Casey Hayward.
That's why Rasul Douglas was let go, because they had Casey Hayward.
I mean, that's fine. You're right. If they never had Casey Hayward, they probably would have kept Douglas and found out he was even better. But anyway, the point is, you got some guys there who have played a while, who are hungry, who haven't won the whole thing, and now have a chance. As good a chance as anybody. AFC's wide ass open. So why not the Raiders, right? Why not?
Hey, I want to do a bracket breakdown here.
Okay, I'm
it ain't
trying
gonna take
to get
that
it back.
long.
All right, let's do it. I'll try to pull it back up. It's not that big for us, but you'll see it.
I don't know if you guys have looked at it. I've already decided who all is going to win.
All right, let's give it to him straight, Ben.
Okay, here's what I'm doing. We're going to do the NFC first. I pick Tampa Bay is going to beat the Eagles.
Oh.
Because the Eagles stink.
Well, yeah,
Tampa Bay is getting a bunch of guys back. There you go. Enough said. 49ers are going to beat Dallas because Mike McCarthy stinks. And Kyle Shanahan will do whatever needs to be done. The only X factor is Jimmy Garoppolo. But I think the Mike McCarthy factor is worse than the Jimmy Garoppolo factor. So 49ers are going to beat Dallas.
You do not believe in McCarthy magic?
No.
That's what you're saying? Wow.
I think the Cardinals beat the Rams because the Matthew Stafford sucks.
Ooh, Stafford factor. Okay.
And the Rams just signed a 38-year-old free safety who hasn't played in 2 years to play for him in a system he's never played in before. And there's no way that they're going to be able to stop Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Plus, J.J. Watt's back. So look out.
All right, let's stop right there.
Stafford.
Let's stop right there. I do not like your prediction because that gives the Packers the absolute worst matchup.
No. It's the best matchup.
Want the 49ers. I don't want the 49ers.
Listen,
Why?
Let me finish my brackets, and then we'll talk about it.
All right, finish your
Okay, so after all that happens, Tampa is going to be playing the Cardinals, and they're going to beat them because Tom Brady's going to get a bunch of calls, and that's the way it's going to be.
All right.
Packers are going to play the 49ers, and the 49ers are coming to Lambeau this time in the cold, where their running game will be at its best. But the discipline of this team and the A.J. Dillon will be a Packer victory. And then it'll be Packers against Tampa. And this time, the fans all be in there. Tampa not getting all the calls. And the A.J. Dillon factor with the Aaron Jones factor, with the defense playing much better. Rasul Douglas is going to get 2 picks off Tom Brady. And Packers go to Super Bowl. And here's why I picked it that way. Because the 49ers are what ended us in the NFC Championship game in 2019. Tampa Bay ended us in the NFC Championship game last year. For Matt LaFleur to get to the Super Bowl, I want him to have to exercise the demons. Beat the 49ers, beat Tampa Bay, and get to the Super Bowl. Have to go through those 2 teams that have caused you headaches the last 2 years, who have ended your season the last 2 years. If that's the case, it would make this going to the Super Bowl even more beautiful. So that's my NFC bracket. What do you guys think about that? Now you can talk.
All right. Sorry. I will. I'll retract.
What do you mean? You don't want the Packers to get there, Rick? Come on.
Yeah, it's your first round that
Rick, go.
sucks. But after that, it's okay.
Oh.
I'll retract my statement because I like that, and also because I said
You
it
like
before.
that?
That's right. I'm like Kirk Cousins. I like that, and I like that. I will also. I think I said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm not concerned to play too much of any team, really, because I think the Packers are good enough. I think this year they have the right makeup, the right mesh, the right guys, that if they keep the right guys in the field, so like, okay, if you're going to bring Myers back, okay, then I want to see Lucas Patrick out there instead of Royce Newman. Decisions like that. If Z comes back, if that's what's going to happen, I don't want to see a lot of Z. Like, those decisions, if they make those correct decisions for playing time, the right players, I think they can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. And I'm not concerned about any of the matchups. So I do enjoy that part. The challenge of the 49ers. Plus, I think, I don't think the 49ers will get away with throwing 8 passes in the game again at Lambeau Field. So I think they can do it. So anyway, I kind of like it because of that, even though the 49ers to me is the scariest matchup, but I like it because of the overcome matchup.
It is, but that's listen. I don't want to see the Packers get there because some other team did their dirty work for them.
Because they play the Carolina Panthers in the championship.
Yeah, that's
game
how they got there. That's how
or whatever. Yeah,
that's how Favre got his Super Bowl. Instead of going up against the Cowboys, like the Cowboys ended our season every year, right?
Yep.
And then in '96 we ended up only having to beat the Panthers, and we creamed the crap out of them. And Dorsey Levens kicked the crap. I mean, Dorsey Levens was amazing that game. And we won the Super Bowl and won the dang thing over the Patriots because they had a statue at quarterback, and Reggie could just ate him for lunch, and we all know that, right? No, I want to see him have to exercise the demons, go up against the biggest challenges you've had the last 2 years, do the coaching job that makes you coach of the year and the greatest coach in the start of his career. Let's go do it. And to do that, to prove to me you're the greatest coach ever. At the start of his career, beat Kyle Shanahan, your former best buddy who has your butt the last couple times, and beat stinking Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, who's a butthole. That's what I say.
Rick?
And then whenever you're ready, I'll do the AFC brackets, and then we can talk about that.
All right, Rick, thoughts on that NFC part?
As much as I dislike the Cowboys, as much as I dismissed them earlier in the year and said they were overrated, I think they're going to knock off San Francisco. I just don't. I know
you believe in McCarthy magic, Mike.
No, it's in spite of McCarthy magic.
Magic Mike.
I think if their offense is actually hitting on all cylinders, it's going to be tough to stop. I think Dallas is going to beat San Francisco.
But isn't it about the Cowboys' defense this year? Like, isn't that the big difference? I mean, Parsons and the way they play defense is not what's made them way better.
Yeah, and Jimmy G's not going to get her done. So.
Oh, okay.
But as long as Dak's not throwing interceptions, and they put a bunch of points, and then the Niners have to throw the ball, it's not going to work. Dallas is going to win.
Well, better question. Will McCarthy challenge a stupid play in these playoffs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Especially since he's going to have at least 2 games in which to do it.
No, 1 game, and he'll be out.
Magic Mike. Believe
then
in
he goes to Tampa.
Believe in
That's
when
the trouble happens.
What's the path?
Parsons is going to eat up old man Brady. Brady's out. Green Bay, then they'll be able to destroy Magic Mike's magical mayhem in the conference championship game.
Conference NFC championship at Lambeau. McCarthy's return to Lambeau.
Listen,
and he gives a classic
last dance. You're gonna make this the best story ever, right?
McCarthy has suffered enough. Okay, I think the exercise the demon storyline is much better than the McCarthy suffers and gets humiliated once again at Lambeau, like he did the last time he was in Lambeau, and
Oh,
they lost and they got fired right after. Listen, give the poor guy a break, huh?
All right, I'm gonna go a totally different direction. Ready? Here's what I got for you. The Cardinals beat the Rams.
Yep.
The Cowboys beat the Niners.
No.
And Tampa Bay gets some calls to beat the Eagles, even though they shouldn't. So then
Okay,
what
well,
do you got?
that's the same as the Rick. That's the same as Rick.
Okay, fair enough. Then you have the Cardinals, who advance again because they're so mad. They beat.
Then they beat
who
the
would they
Packers.
No, they went. Oh,
Yeah.
they beat the Packers. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. Let's retract that. Sorry, the Cardinals lose to the Packers. Old man, chump boy Brady comes on, but the Packers play the Cardinals and whoop them this time. J.J. Watt's sad, but he doesn't have to go very far when the season ends. He can just stay in Wisconsin. And then old man Brady comes back to town, except it's negative 10 degrees instead of 35 degrees like it was last time you came to town, Brady. And you can't even hold the ball with your two gloves. Remember, you can't trust quarterbacks who wear two gloves. That's my number one rule. Quarterbacks that wear gloves on both hands, you can't trust them. Tom Brady throws a bunch of picks, and his running backs drop the ball, even though he tries to throw it his running backs all game. Gronk falls down a bunch, and the Packers win and go to the championship. And that's the NFC. So slightly different from you and slightly different from Rick, although kind of some of the same, but mirroring it together with Cardinals, the matchup for the Packers, and then Packers, Buccaneers, Packers win.
Hey, Lee is talking about how he just
Lee, how
watched
you
the
doing?
Carolina game, and he's talking about how great Tyrone Williams' interception was. The one play that led to Tyrone Williams being called a great player for three or four more years when he had only made one play.
Lee,
He's
go
the
back.
opposite. He was the opposite of Tremont Williams.
Yeah, go back and watch Tremont Williams. Now, I even think that was probably actually Tremont Williams' interception, and Tyrone Williams took credit for it. That's what I probably think. actually
Oh,
happened.
that's not good.
I'm going to tell you. That's probably what happened.
We're
Tremont
not Tyrone Williams fans, Lee.
Sorry, man.
He had
Tyrone
one big play and then talked about it for like 5
That's
years
right.
and sucked.
He was a self-made guy. He came in the next year. He wasn't self-made. He was self-proclaimed player to be a Pro Bowler. Somehow he almost turned that into being elected as a Pro Bowler, even though his play didn't match that. But he said in training camp 1 year, I remember it clearly, he was one of the top 5 corners in the league.
Even though he was the third corner on the Packers.
Right, and all the media was like, what the hell are you talking about? And he just kept saying it over and over, and then all of a sudden they started going, oh, Tyrone Williams, top 5 cornerback in the league. And I was sitting there like, what is anybody talking about? Just because he said it doesn't make it true.
The
But
problem
there
is
you go.
that interception led to the Packers not signing back Doug Evans, which
Ooh.
really pissed me off because Doug Evans was one of my favorite. He was my favorite defensive player at the time because he wore number 33. Kind of like Aaron Jones.
Great number, Mike.
And then after he left, the worst thing ever happened.
Oh,
Stupid,
no.
big fat ding dong,
Ooh,
freaking what's his
ding
name? I
dong.
can't remember his name. Stole
William
the
Henderson.
number. William Henderson stole the number because he was 30, and then all of a sudden he became 33 after Doug Evans was gone. You don't deserve 33, William Henderson. Anyways,
All
that's
right,
the way
we'll
it
get
goes.
off of that. But anyway, Micah Hyde revived that number, and then
Yes.
with Aaron Jones. So good,
Yep.
good players have had that number throughout Packer history.
Yeah, Doug, Micah Hyde, and Aaron Jones are like 3 of my favorite Packers of all time. So
I guess wants to make a playoff challenge. I don't know if we can.
boy.
And Lee says Cowboys had a cakewalk. They beat up on bad teams. It doesn't matter because McCarthy Magic will come through for the first game, and then they'll lose in the second round. All right, so
all right, you ready for the AFC?
AFC. Should we give it to Rick first, or are you going to go first?
No, I want to go first, and then Rick.
All right, you first, then Rick. Go for it.
All right, so here we go. The Chiefs are going to beat the snot out of the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger is going to have 27 yards passing.
You're saying T.J. Watt isn't going to tear up Patrick Mahomes?
No,
Okay, all right.
the Steelers suck.
Wow, how'd they make the playoffs then?
I have no idea. They got a tie one time. They were so bad they couldn't even win a game, and that's how they got in. Okay. The Patriots are going to beat the Bills because it's going to be really cold. I don't trust Josh Allen. He always does boneheaded dumb crap. And because of that, Bill Belichick, I got to go with him. He always knows what to do. Yeah, they got creamed the last time they played, but I got a feeling McCurkle Jones and whatever they're gonna do something. They're gonna do something. So Patriots beat the Bills.
Woo!
And then here's the game that Rick's worried about. Raiders and Bengals.
Boop, boop.
I like the Bengals because they have Ben in their name. But I don't trust Joe Burrow. I think the pass rush of the Raiders.
MVP candidate Joe Burrow, the guy.
This game is going to come down to a decision that was made in the draft. The Bengals could have drafted some offensive line help to help keep Joe Burrow upright.
Right on.
They chose to take another receiver, even though they already took T. Higgins the year before, and they had Boyd, and they had they had enough weapons. They didn't need another one, and that's going to be their downfall because, like Rick said, Ngakoue and Max Crosby are going to feast. They're going to feast on that offensive line, and Joe Burrow will make a couple plays, but he's going to make some dumb stinker plays too. He holds the ball too long. He throws into double coverage. The other thing about the Raiders defense is they kind of play the same thing all the time because they got Gus Bradley. So he's still running that same old Seahawks defense from, 2013 or whatever. So what's going to happen is Joe Burrow is going to be impatient. He's going to be getting pass rushed in his face. He's going to have to he's going to take some chances, throwing up
Impaciente.
he's going to throw up to Jamar Chase, and Raiders are going to get some picks.
That was Spanish, Rick. Just so you know.
And Derek Carr and Jacobs are going to lead him back. Darren Waller's back. He's back. Last week he was back, but he wasn't at full capacity. He'll be back full capacity. Hunter Renfrow, he's going to do some stuff. Raiders beat the Bengals. There we go. The next round. Titans against the Patriots.
Can I just say one quick?
No. As much as I like Mike Vrabel, just let me finish. I'll go real quick here. As much as I like Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick is going to beat Mike Vrabel. Patriots are going to beat the Titans because Derrick Henry is the most overrated I've ever seen. We took him out last year. He wasn't any good. The Patriots have a very big, tough defensive line. They got all three of their guys are over 300 pounds. It reminds me of the Packers with Pickett and Jenkins and
Spill it, Pickett.
Yeah, and Raji. When you have over 300 pounds on your three guys there, and then their two outside linebackers are 260, 270. Their inside linebackers are 250. Titans ain't going to run on the Patriots. So Patriots beat the Titans. And then it comes down to the Raiders against the Chiefs. And the Raiders were the only team that could beat the Chiefs last year. And this year, until the playoffs. And this year, I don't know what's going on. The Raiders got creamed twice. But something tells me deep inside that the Raiders are going to pull it out this time. Because as everybody always says, which makes no sense, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. It's easy to beat a team 3 times. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. But in this case, the Raiders are going to win it. They're going to beat the Chiefs. They're going to exercise the demons. Max Crosby is going to hurt Mahomes, and there you go. They're going to take him out. That's going to be the Raiders against the Patriots. And we all know what happened when the Raiders and the Patriots met in the Snow Bowl. They got screwed. They got screwed out of a chance to go to Super Bowl because of that stupid tuck rule. And the Raiders are going to take revenge on the Patriots' tuck rule and get to the Super Bowl. That's the storyline. Raiders get their revenge against the Patriots. Tuck rule revenge. Go to the Super Bowl against the Pack. Boom. That's my bracket.
Ben is all on the
I'm all storylines.
Exercise demons and revenge.
It's more fun. It's more fun with that stuff. I don't even know. Probably not going to happen, but it's a better storyline.
Rick, what do you think?
I'm more on board with this, and I'm all for the revenge angle. The Raiders can get revenge on the Bengals because the last time they played in the playoffs, they hurt Bo Jackson.
Oh,
Tecmo Bowl.
That was a long time ago. You got 2 teams that haven't been to playoffs very much there.
That's right. That's why the Raiders are going to win, because the Bengals suck too. And Eckes said he's drunk, but I know he's drunk because Eckes is saying the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. I don't know. Maybe he's talking about his Madden season. But I think the Raiders are going to take the Bengals for all those reasons. I think, Chase will get a long touchdown or 2. But as long as the Raiders can stay close, I think they'll pull ahead down the stretch. They've been in some hard-fought, dog-eat-dog sort of games that have pulled it out. I think they got momentum, confidence, belief on their side. I think they'll be able to pull this one out. I agree. New England's going to take Buffalo. Buffalo just hasn't looked that good all
They've been
year, in
so
my opinion.
disappointing. I know they were
And
supposed to take that next step and they just didn't.
you get into the playoffs, and just the Belichick factor is going to carry a lot of weight there. Um, so I think they're going to knock off Buffalo. I would absolutely love to see crusty old Big Ben knock off Mahomes just for the sake of the Chiefs lose, because that always makes me happy. Uh, I don't think it's likely to happen, but hey, you never know. Kansas City might get hit with COVID, and pretty soon they're the ones without a quarterback. So, but I think Kansas City's going to win. So that's going to be the matchup that the Raiders are trying to avoid by not tying last week. They're going to Kansas City. I hope they keep it competitive. If they stay close, they got a chance. If they just fall apart and start turning the ball over, it's going to be ugly quick. But we'll be confident. Say they knock off Kansas City because I'm with Ben. Law of averages catching up. They showed they can hang with them. I don't know why they fell apart so badly this year, but last year they stuck with them, which would leave the New England Tennessee matchup. And I know everyone's hot on Tennessee, but I think the AFC was just pretty bad this year. And they rose to the top of a crappy conference.
Really,
they got weapons. They should be good.
Yeah,
they can be hot if they're playing well. But I think it's the Belichick factor coming in there, turn into like psychological head games, whatever. He'll have the edge after getting bumped off. He's going to be out for revenge, following the Ben theme. So, yeah, I would love to see the Raiders, Patriots in the championship game, but if it more realistically is Patriots Chiefs. As much as it pains me to say, go Patriots. I would hate to see that. I don't know if I'd even watch that game if that's what it came down
I wouldn't.
to.
I wouldn't watch it.
But if that's what it is, I'm still calling for the Chiefs to lose. So, yeah.
Lee says they didn't change their defensive scheme and they get blown out if they wouldn't adjust. The Raiders against the Chiefs, they got blown out, and they didn't change the scheme in the regular season. They got to change it to not get blown out. Okay. Jeez, I think I'm pretty similar to you guys because I just see it the same way. Like I see the Raiders beating the Bengals. Bengals, young up and coming team, but Raiders I think are gonna get past them. I think the Raiders can get past Tennessee as well because I'm not as sold on Tennessee either. And then they're gonna all of a sudden implement Henry back in, and I like their defense, but I think the Raiders find a way. As far as the Bills, have just been too weak. Too. I mean, I like Micah and stuff, but their offense I don't like. So I think New England finds a way. I got to go with Kansas City here, just like you guys.
Hey, but if New England wins, though, then Las Vegas isn't playing Tennessee.
That's true. That's true. Fair enough. You're right. Las Vegas going against. You're right. Against the Raiders in the second round, which I'd prefer to see them in the championship game, but I think it's going to work out that way. So the Raiders end up playing the Chiefs right away, and I think they can win. I think they can because I'm not. Look, I think Mahomes gets impatient like he always has been. I think the Raiders can force some turnovers, and I think they can win that game, find a way to do it. I believe in Derek Carr. I think he's a good enough player, and so then I think you do end up with the 5 and the 6 seed in the freaking championship game. And then I don't know.
The Raiders got a home game.
Right? Who would have thought it, right? And then unfortunately, I think the Patriots win and they end up going to the Super Bowl and playing the Packers. And the Raiders come up one game short, which crushes Rick's soul. But that's what I think might happen. Tell me I'm crazy, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Wouldn't that be some poetic justice so that Rodgers could beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl for his second Super Bowl win? And then, like, perhaps match or eclipse the Favre greatness by beating the Patriots.
Yeah, beating another Patriots team with a not great quarterback. I mean, just like they did when Favre won the Super Bowl. There you go. Come on, nice. Drew Bledsoe was pathetic in that game. You guys know it. Everybody knows
he
it.
Was.
Like,
he was really. He
was if they had a good quarterback, would the Packers even have won that Super Bowl? I don't know.
I don't think so. Well, but yeah, they still had the best special teams. in the
Desmond
league.
Howard had to put on like the performance of the ages as a returner, and they still like they won, but it wasn't like a dominant, huge win. Reggie White had to sack him 2 times in 3 plays to seal the win
Yeah.
because he's Drew Bledsoe and a statue.
Yeah.
Like if they had a good quarterback during that time, would the Packers have won the Super Bowl? Maybe. Hopefully. I don't know. I mean, clearly the Packers should have beat the Broncos the next year had they stuck with the game plan. Anyway, that's going way back. But I'm just saying, Drew Bledsoe is not a good quarterback. And sometimes you cannot apologize for the teams you play. So if the Packers end up playing the Patriots and Mac Jones in the Super Bowl, can't apologize for it. Just go win the game. Who cares? Right? That's all you got to do.
Well, here's the thing. In my bracket, I got the Packers and the Raiders in the Super Bowl. And here's the thing. I don't know who I want to win.
Ooh.
And that's scary. Because I love a great storyline. And the rallying of the Raiders to get all the way to the Super Bowl and win it would be one hell of a storyline. But also, the Aaron Rodgers drama on the offseason to come back and get all the way to the Super Bowl and win it is one hell of a storyline. So, and I'm a Packer fan. So I'd rather see, like, I don't care if Aaron Rodgers wins another Super Bowl, but Aaron Jones winning one, all those, Rasul Douglas, all those guys, Bakhtiari, you know,
Lucas Patrick,
Lukey
he's
Patrick,
not on the team next year.
yeah, Rasul, you know, Campbell, who's probably not going to be on the team next year. All these guys that are not going to be on the team, you know, it's the last dance, Packers, but it's against the Raiders, hard lost Raiders who have been held down, and I mean it's. I would, if either team won, I would be okay. I'd probably rather have the Packers win, but my heart kind of goes out to the Raiders. Probably neither of them are going to get there now because I picked them both to get there, but still.
I think that's why
I say.
I think that's why I picked it the way I picked it, because then I'm not conflicted, because then I clearly want the Packers to win, not the Patriots to win.
Right. I mean, anybody else gets there out of Packers, oh, of course. But the Raiders, they just got a soft spot for them, man.
Like
they're like the Lions to me.
Right. If you look at the AFC, you don't have attachments to the Chiefs. You don't want them to win. You don't want the Bengals to win. The Titans aren't compelling. Like the Steelers, no. Like what are the team? But if the Raiders end up in the Super Bowl, yeah, you kind of root for those guys. I mean, it's a cool team, a cool story. They got good guys on the team. They went through a whole bunch of crap and lost a bunch of money because their coach was insane and all this stuff, and they gave them way too much of a commitment. But what do? They're the Raiders. Mystique. Plus, we got Raider Rick here, and we want
John Madden passed away. That's another. I mean, that's another
win
storyline.
Win one for Madden. I mean, come on.
He's the Madden Ghost gonna be giving the old Huckabuck and helping him to, push it through the end zone.
Yeah, it could happen.
Rick, what would you do? Who's with your Super Bowl matchup? Who would you go for? Who wins it?
I'd have to pull for the Raiders just because it's been too long of a time. And,
You would probably not be welcome on this show. I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, he's welcome.
No.
I mean, look, if you're a Packer fan and you can't get behind the Raiders, like, come on. If the Raiders end up beating the Packers and you can't recognize that as a pretty cool team to lose to, I would be okay with it. Come on, you got to be a decent human if you're gonna be a Packer fan on our show.
Lee's asking about the starting offensive line for the Pack. Lee, there's no question. We all know what the starting offensive line should be for the Pack.
Yeah, it's clear. If Myers is back and he's your center, Royce is the weakest link. You get his ass out of there, and you put LP. You just say, Lucas, now we're going to have you play here because that's what he does. And you put him in a right guard, and you have a stronger offensive line, clearly.
Yep. Matt LaFleur said on Monday, Lucas Patrick deserves to be one of the top 5 on the lineup. He said a whole bunch of awesome stuff. Watch that interview if you haven't seen it. I'm sure you have, Lee. I know you. And
That was a really strong statement because when he was
Yeah.
asked point blank about
They asked-
Rasul
yeah.
Douglas, he sidestepped it. But when he was asked point blank about Lucas Patrick, and I'll give some credit to Ryan Wood. Ryan Wood asks some good questions sometimes. He's also the one that asked Aaron Rodgers, just a heads up, whether he was vaccinated.
Yep.
And that led to that whole thing. That was Ryan Wood who asked the question. Ryan Wood asked this question going back to the offensive line and said, with the way Lucas Patrick has played, what does that mean? You're like, has he earned a spot on the starting lineup, regardless of whether Josh Myers is back or not? And Matt LaFleur said clearly he expects him to be one of the starting 5. Now that speaks to the guy he is, Lucas Patrick is, and what he's going to do. They're like, okay, you played center most of the year. Now you're going to jump over here and play right guard. Fine. Do what you got to do. Do your job. Do your best. That's awesome. And so if it's Bakhtiari's back and Runyon's doing fine and Myers is in there at center, even though he's not as good as Lucas Patrick was at center, and then Patrick at right guard, and I'd still prefer Dennis Kelly. Now Billy Turner's coming back.
No.
Is Billy Turner your right tackle?
No.
Are you sure? Because he's back at practice and he's wearing both gloves or whatever.
Yeah, but they asked LaFleur about that too, and he was like, "Oh yeah." Listen,
Rick, would you switch? Would you switch back to Billy Turner now, even though Dennis Kelly has been pretty damn solid at right tackle?
No.
Okay.
And I would also not if you guys have heard any of the mutterings like, oh well, Kelly's done a good job. They could keep him out there. They put Billy Turner back in at guard.
oh God, no.
Which that's an even bigger no.
Listen, Billy
You
Turner
wouldn't have
needs
to beat
to
the Billy Turner
stay
dead
hurt.
horse again.
Yeah, he needs to stay hurt. Zadarius needs to be just third down pass rush inside specialist at D tackle pass rusher. That's it. Nothing else.
Right. He's
Never
on
the field.
He's
otherwise.
on a play. He's on a play count, like a limited play number.
Right.
I hate when LaFleur keeps calling it a pitch count. Just call it a play count because pitch count is dumb. That's baseball, dude.
Yeah.
Keep it out of football. And Zadarius is on like a 15 play count, so we just bring him in on third downs. Just say that, and he can still have his integrity, and you can still get maximum use out of him, and not screw up the rest of your defense. But I mean, these are like serious questions because they have shown they will shuffle the O line all the time, no matter what, week to week, whatever, which most teams do not do. And if they make I will say this definitively, if they make the wrong choice on offensive line starters and players, they will lose in the playoffs. If they decide Billy Turner over Dennis Kelly or Billy Turner at guard and Lucas Patrick out, they will lose. I'm telling you right now.
Because they'll have to go up against Nick Bosa, and then if for somehow they get past him, they'll have to go up against Tampa Bay's pass rushers. So, in my bracket anyways. But that's besides the point. That's still a whole week away.
It's not besides the point because
This week is the Raiders beating the Bengals.
They got to do it, Rick.
That's how it's at.
When was the last time the Raiders won a playoff game?
The year they went to the Super Bowl, I think.
Oh my God. Was that like 2001?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were...
No, 2000.
2002?
Well, that was the 2000 season. 2001, right? I don't know when it was.
I'll look it up. You guys talk. I'll look it up.
You don't have to look it up. I don't know.
I'll look it up. Raiders.
I don't think they won a
the
playoff
2001
game.
season was the year the Patriots won it because that was the whole 9/11 happened. Was that 2001?
While we're searching this, I think just a general comment after like all this year's Antonio Brown antics and crap and everything else.
Oh my God.
I know you guys have talked about in the past how sometimes it seems like the Packers might be missing a little bit of edge or tough guys or attitude or whatever, but generally it's appreciated that they don't go after these questionable character sort of guys, right? They're not getting the Namdekong Sues in, or these guys are dirty, cheap, whatever players. And I think if you don't appreciate that to this point, or if you haven't appreciated it yet, after the most recent Antonio Brown meltdown, what would it take to realize that it's sometimes not worth trying to win at all costs when you bring in a guy like that? right? Or even the struggles that the Raiders have had where, Henry Ruggs kills somebody driving like an idiot doing 156 miles an hour or whatever. And then, was it last week or the week before, one of their corners is arrested for drunk driving, right? Like,
Yeah.
What does it take to get through to some of these guys? And how often do you have anything like that happen in Green Bay? And I know this argument of, well, how much trouble can you get in Green Bay? But really, that stuff can happen anywhere. And it's just not a problem with the Packers organization for the most part. So
Lee's here, and he gives us bad news saying they will put Turner in. He doesn't want them to, but he would bet that they will. I hope not. I looked it up for the Raiders just to recap. So the Raiders last made the playoffs in 2016. They lost to the Houston Texans. Yuck. 27-14.
That's because Derek Carr got hurt before the game.
That's bad.
Prior
to 2016.
Oh, he was in that game?
2016, the Raiders last made the playoffs in 2002. So it was 2002 to 2016 before the Raiders made the playoffs. They lost to the Texans. Now, the first time since 2016 they made the playoffs. In 2002 was when they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Buccaneers 21-48. But they did have a nice run, 2000, 2001, 2002, all in the playoffs. So, but yikes. Consider that as a Packers fan. You're pretty damn lucky considered to other fan bases, just a heads up.
Yeah, that's why Rick's got his hat.
That's right. Rick, Raiders, all the way this year. Let's go. It's been a long time. Or at least all the way to the Super Bowl.
It's an old friggin' hat, too. It's probably, I don't know, 25-year-old hat.
It looks new.
And
as real often. It's not
as
cold
always,
here,
it's not cold there.
You're in Minnesota. Like, come on.
We just got snow all freaking going right through us all day long today.
I know, it sucked. It was a crappy ride home. It's like 5 inches of slushy, frozen car snot stuff on the side of the road. I had to walk my bike half the way.
All right. I'm not going to forget our show closed today. But as always, our show has stood the test of time. More than 2 hours. We bring content to you. I don't know if it's good or not, but some of it was good at least. And we also remind you about this before we go. Closing shots on. I didn't realize it was Super Wild Card Weekend, but it is. It's not just Wild Card Weekend anymore. It's Super Wild Card Weekend. Rick, what do you hope you see out of this weekend?
Just win, baby.
There you go. Ben, how about you?
I'm excited. I haven't been excited to watch so many games in a long time. Every one of these games looks like I want to be glued to the TV, which is weird. 'Cause a lot of times I don't care. But like last year, I really wanted to watch the Browns and the Steelers. That was awesome to watch the Browns beat the Steelers because I hate Ben Roethlisberger.
Fair enough.
So, I hate the Chiefs, but I hate Ben Roethlisberger more. So pretty much all these games look awesome. I can't think of one game I don't want to watch. Even the Eagles against Tampa. Maybe Gardner Minshew will get in there and hey, what the hey.
Right. That's the thing I was going to say. There are two teams I really want to see win this weekend. The Eagles over Tampa Bay. I'd love to see it just to kick Brady's ass to the can right away. And number two, the Raiders. Raiders and Eagles win. It's a happy weekend for me. The game I care least about is Cardinals and Rams, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
like that's
right. The Monday night game. That's the one I probably don't care.
What do you guys think about Monday night games for playoffs?
It's weird, but I mean, they got to do it. They expanded it. They might as well. They want to make sure they got capitalized the audience. It's fine.
Well, last year they did 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just hope those guys get to play on Sunday next weekend. That's all. Because that would suck if they got only 5 days. They got to play again. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do, but whatever.
This weekend and every weekend up until the Super Bowl, I'm a huge Raiders fan. So let's go Raiders! Power to your Raiders, Rick. Thanks for tuning in. We're out of here. I'm not going to forget to play the outro. Any parting shots before we go? We're good?
Just go Raiders.
Go Raiders! Just win, baby!
Tell me why that unicorn, still hoping that I dream you. Got to find that unicorn. I still